Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of longer-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, because in today's video, I want to discuss and analyze where I think Bitcoin is going to be going to during the 2019, 2020, and probably on into 2021 bull market. How far will Bitcoin rally? What's the all-time high going to be? What are we going to see Bitcoin trading at years down the line from now? Because if we look into history on Bitcoin, we'll find that the previous bull market that Bitcoin undertook saw a 10,000% rally from bottom to top, and the one before that saw a rally of nearly 60,000% if we take our measuring device and measure from top to bottom. I don't think we're going to be able to expect those kind of gains, because that would put Bitcoin well into the multi-million dollars over the next couple of years, and I'm not quite sure we're ready for that. But in today's video, we are going to try to come up with a somewhat reasonable price target for Bitcoin so that we have some idea of what our investments will bring us over the next couple of years. So guys, if you do enjoy today's video, what I want to ask you to do is go down below this video, destroy that like button, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, guys. We upload cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. So let's get right on into the video. Before we get on into it, though, I do want to do just a little bit of short-term technical analysis to catch you guys up with what's going on here over the last couple of days, because as you guys know, we have been in this triangle pattern that I've been discussing quite a lot, and I've been talking about how we were probably going to break bullish out of it. Originally, it was this one, and I said we break bullish out of it, and so we did, and then we kind of fell over bearish and recreated the consolidation pattern, and then we broke bullish out of it again. Yesterday, we broke bullish, setting a new yearly high of $11,485 and change over here on the Coinbase chart, a little bit different on the Bitfinex chart. Nevertheless, Bitcoin did break bullish, but one of the things that concerns me is how large this bullish breakout is. If this isn't the end of this and Bitcoin does continue rallying to where I want it to go, which is 11.7, that's very good. But note that this breakout and this rally are slightly smaller than this breakout and this rally. So if we do see that Bitcoin is making smaller rallies, then that might be indicative that we're going to see some kind of pullback. Not quite sure, guys. It's one of those things where Bitcoin has been rallying for so long that you really want to be hesitant to say that there's going to be a pullback, even if you think that there is going to be a pullback, because you want to be careful. If we look at our technical indicators here on the hourly chart, we're looking bearish, of course, because of what's just happened here, that little crash over the last 2 hours or so. On the MACD, though, we're looking pretty bullish. We may see a reversal in the histogram on the MACD pretty soon. We might see a lower candlestick and bearish convergence between our MACD line and our signal line over the next couple of days. If we do, then that might be indicative of something major. For right now, we're not too worried about a pullback, but we are keeping a close eye on it, because Bitcoin not rallying higher right now, and the fact that Bitcoin has been rallying for over 3 months and has had like a 250% rally does definitely put us into territory of the top of this rally. So we want to keep an eye on that. We may end up seeing some kind of pullback on Bitcoin, be it to $10,000 or lower. Bitcoin very well still could go to the upside. The main point that I'm trying to make is that as every day goes by, the likelihood of a downtrend increases. We're kind of on a yellow alert right now. We're just keeping an eye on it, paying attention. If we see anything major come up, like some major shifts on the oscillators, I'll keep you guys updated in tomorrow's video and whenever that may happen. So with all that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and dive on into the meat and potatoes of today's video, the main topic that we want to discuss, that being the high for Bitcoin here over the next couple of years. Where is Bitcoin going, and when can we expect Bitcoin to get there? Well, guys, when we're talking about longer-term moves like this, it's going to be very advantageous to us to use the log chart, because Bitcoin is very much more easily visualized on the log chart when we're discussing percentage gains. And that's one of the main things we want to talk about in today's video is percentage gains. Like I said, at percentage gains, I can speak English. Earlier on in this video, I mentioned this rally right here where Bitcoin rallied about 60,000%. Now, guys, you must understand that's because Bitcoin was trading at $2 back over here and rallied to $1,200. That was a 60,000% rally. Most of the gains that will ever be made in the history of Bitcoin have already been made, but that does not mean that there is still not a crap ton of money to be made in this market, because there most certainly is. Following that, the next major bull run of Bitcoin happened right over here when Bitcoin pulled back to around $160 or so, and then rallied all the way to $20,000. A way that you can measure this is from $200 at the bottom to $20,000 at the top. Very easy calculation. It's a 10,000% run. Massive gains. But guys, as you can see, we have a trend here where the rally is getting about 6 times smaller every time. So we have 60K over here, 60,000%, then we have 10K over here. Then if we were to extrapolate that out, then we would see that there'd probably be about maybe a 1.88 repeating 1,000% gain on this rally. Let's round that up to 2,000 and see where that brings us. Let's say Bitcoin rallies 2,000% from its bottom here during this bull market. And I think that's relatively realistic. Let's see where this goes. And of course, I'm recording the video, so I already know where it goes, but I want to show you guys. Bitcoin's bottom was right around $3,000. Let's just call it $3,000 for simplicity. So if we were to rally 2,000% from our bottom, then that would put us right around $60,000, which doesn't actually sound like all that much, but if we keep looking here, then we might be able to find a little bit more. Let's go ahead and measure the difference between the tops here on the two bull markets. We have our top down here around $1,200, and then we have our top here around $20,000. That's about a 1,500% increase. If we look into the history of Bitcoin, then we can look at what the increase between this high was and this high was. That's about a 4,000% increase. So we're dropping off from about 4,000 to, let's say, 2,000 for simplicity. If we were to see a 1,000% rally from all-time high, that would put us around $200,000. And I'm not quite sure we're done right there, guys. Like I said, we're doing very, very rough estimates here. We're coming to a conclusion where I'm going to give you guys a kind of zone that I think is likely that Bitcoin trades in between at the end of this bull market. But I'm not going to put an exact price tag on it because I think that would be very silly, considering we don't know all the factors that are going to go into this bull market. We don't know how the technical indicators are going to develop. We don't know how the technical landscape is going to develop, the regulatory landscape. So at the end of this video, I'm going to be giving you a range of prices that I think is likely for Bitcoin to go to. And I think that'll be more helpful for you guys anyway than just one solid price to shoot for. So currently we have a couple of different price targets. We have $60,000 based off of our extrapolation of the two different rallies. And then we also have $200,000 as an extrapolation based off of this. But let's go ahead and look at something else. Let's say that Bitcoin doesn't rally only 2,000% from its bottom. Let's say it rallies a little bit more. Let's say we rally maybe 5,000% from its bottom. That would put us up here around $160,000. Guys, I think it's pretty likely that Bitcoin's going to be trading over 100K by the end of this bull market. It would be surprising to me if Bitcoin didn't, with how quickly Bitcoin has been growing. Also, remember guys, Bitcoin is developing much more rapidly right now than it was during these bull markets. These bull markets only rallied so much because we started with such a low market capitalization and such a low initial investment in the space. Bitcoin now has a lot more investment. It has a lot more people in the space. It has a lot more adoption. It has a lot more regulation and regulatory clarity around it. And it has a lot more institutions stepping into the space. I think we're going to be far more bullish in this market. We're going to have a lot more bullish energy in this market than we have in any previous market in Bitcoin. Remember, guys, this Bitcoin bear market was forged from the flames of the Mt. Gox destruction. We didn't really see anything catastrophic happening during our previous bear market. The only thing we really saw was, well, you know, a bear market. I mean, that happens. Sometimes you see bear markets and then a bull market comes. We don't really have anything coloring us and absolutely destroying Bitcoin that's just looming over us like a Mt. Gox hack was. We saw BitConnect go down at the end of January in 2018, but that's about it, guys. We haven't had any major bearish news. It's not like we had the European Union pass Article 17 and ban Bitcoin or anything. We haven't had anything crazy happen. So I think this bull market's going to be a lot more bullish than the other markets have been as far as the bullish exuberance, not necessarily as far as how far we run. And let me go ahead and clarify something. There's a reason why I'm not just saying that Bitcoin's going to run 10,000% as it did during the last bull market. One, I think that's a little oversimplistic. We're trying to get to something a little bit more well-defined. But also, two, if Bitcoin were to run 10,000%, that would require trillions of dollars to be invested in Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin will be trading up here somewhere around 300,000 in the future, but for Bitcoin to actually get there, it's going to take a ridiculous amount of investment. If we look over here at CoinMarketCap, we look at the market capitalization. If Bitcoin were to run to $300,000, that would put Bitcoin's market capitalization well into the multi-trillions. And I think that is likely in the future, but we also don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Bitcoin is being accelerated and its growth is being accelerated because of the bullishness in the market and because of the bullish fundamentals and technicals. We are seeing that Bitcoin is doing very well, and I do think this is going to be a very profitable and bullish bull market. But at the same time, we must also remember that there's only so much money in the world. Bitcoin at the moment, even though $200 billion sounds like a lot of money, Bitcoin doesn't actually hold a very large percentage of that. I've done a video on that. If you want, you can go back and watch my video on whether or not Bitcoin can go to $1 million. Yes, it most certainly can, and I think it most certainly will over the next 2 decades, but it's going to take time. We're not just going to go straight there. So guys, with all that in mind, let's start narrowing down on where we think Bitcoin is going to go to. The first kind of box that we want to put in is that I think Bitcoin is going to wind up at the end of this bull market at least 6 figures below 7 figures. I don't see Bitcoin going any lower than $100,000, and I don't see it going any higher than $1 million. For that matter, I also don't see Bitcoin going any higher than $500,000. So now our range is in between $100,000 and $500,000. Let's continue trying to narrow that in. Like we mentioned earlier, we can extrapolate out these highs and try to figure out where the future will lead. If we had a 4,000% rally between these two highs over here, and then a 1,500% rally between these two highs over here, what would happen if we did, say, a 750% or a 1,000% rally from this high? 750% would put us at $173,000. 1,000% would put us, of course, you guessed it, at $200,000. So we're kind of narrowing it in. Let's drop that $500,000 range down to $400,000 to try to narrow it in a little bit. Well, guys, also, if we were to only go to $100,000, that's only a 5 times increase from all-time high. And that seems like a lot, but in Bitcoin, that's really not. That's only about a 400% increase, so I think we're probably going to go higher than 100K. Let's narrow that into 150,000. So now our range is 150,000 to 400,000. We're trying to cut off the fat and get a good idea of where Bitcoin is going to rally to. Right now, we're at 150K to 400K. And guys, this is where this starts getting more difficult because it gets a lot harder to start cutting the fat off when we're right here. I don't think Bitcoin's going above 500K, and I don't really see Bitcoin going to anything less than 150,000, but we're going to start getting a little bit harder to predict things. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave this right here, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say we're going to have a low of 150K and a high of 400K. And what I'm also going to say is that I think Bitcoin is likely going to wind up somewhere in the middle of this, so probably around 250K. If I had to put a number on where I think Bitcoin will go to during this bull market, I would put a number like $250,000 on Bitcoin, maybe a little bit lower than that, maybe $200,000. But I think there's also a higher range for that. Like I said, I know you guys want an exact answer. If you want an exact answer, here's going to be my very rough, very much having a lot of asterisks on the end exact answer. This is the answer that you're looking for if that's what you want. But at the same time, guys, you have to remember that there are so many factors going into this that you can do all the technical analysis in the world that you want, and it's not going to matter if something happens that we can't foresee. What we're doing here is we're predicting climate. In normal, everyday, shorter-term technical analysis, we're predicting weather. We can get a pretty good idea of what Bitcoin's going to do with the climate, but at the end of the day, we certainly don't understand everything that's going on in the market, and sometimes climate change starts happening and you have no idea how that works. So sometimes you just can't have an exact answer. What I do think is going to happen, guys, is we're going to be trading above 100K and below 400K. That's what I'm going to tell you, and that's where I think Bitcoin is going. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and see what that would leave us with our investments right now. If you were to invest a bunch of money in Bitcoin right now, which this pertains to me because I'm about to buy $3,000 worth of Bitcoin, then we would see that Bitcoin would rally quite a lot. Let's look at that $250,000 mark. If we were to see Bitcoin rally to $250,000 and you bought right now, that's a 2,000% gain. What that means is that a $3,000 investment like I'm about to do here at about $11,000 and change would become a $60,000 investment later on down the line. If you were to invest $10,000, that would become $200,000. Guys, Bitcoin has already seen the vast majority of its gains during its lifetime, but there is still a whole lot of money to be made in this market. I want you guys to understand that. There's a very, very specific area that you need to be in the way that you look at Bitcoin. You need to understand that there's a whole lot of money to be lost, and you need to be very careful. But you also need to understand that there is a very major upside. In the stock markets, maybe you have upside over here, downside over here, and you know the upside in the stock markets is like a 2, the downside is like a 2, and Bitcoin is like 10 upside and 10 downside. If you were to put a number on these, Bitcoin has so much more money to be made, but also so much more money to be lost. That's why you need to be very careful in these markets, because you can become an absolute quintillionaire if you want to, but at the same time, you have to be very careful because for all we know, Bitcoin could crash tomorrow, and we might never see a $250,000 Bitcoin. So guys, to wrap it up and to conclude, if I were to put a price target on where I think Bitcoin is going to go, I would say in between $200,000 to $300,000, and I would say that most likely it's going to go somewhere around $250,000. During the next bull market following that, we'll probably go to over $500,000, and the one after that will probably go to $1 million. We might go to $1 million in the one after this one. We will see. Time will tell on that. The point is, guys, no matter what the number is, there is a gigantic bull market coming in the future. I don't want to spread FOMO. I want you guys to be careful. Always hedge your investments and always make sure you have stop losses. Always make sure you're protecting yourself. Always do your own research and your own technical analysis before you go and do anything. Don't do things just because a YouTuber said to or because you got the idea from a YouTuber, especially if that one is me, because I don't want you to sue me. always make sure you're protecting yourselves. But at the same time, guys, like I said, a lot of money to be made. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. What I want you to do is, if you enjoyed this video, go down there into the description of this video. I want you to absolutely destroy that like button, guys. That like button has been mean to me yesterday, and I want to punish it. Go down there and smack the heck out of that like button. Also, if you're new here, because I have a feeling this video will be viewed by some newer people, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. We do cryptocurrency videos every single day. Make sure you also hit that notification bell so you'll be updated every single time a new video goes out. I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. And guys, before we wrap it up as well, I also want to ask you that if you have any certain ideas that you would like to see made into a video, perhaps it has to do with some longer term stuff on Bitcoin, perhaps it has to do with some news things, perhaps it has to do with some fundamental stuff on Bitcoin, tell me in the comment section down below. I'm not going to do any dedicated videos on one specific altcoin simply because there's not enough viewership for you guys to be interested in that. I'm going to try to do a lot of dedicated videos on Bitcoin, as we always have, but also if you do want to see some specific altcoins covered, I will do so in the next live stream or in a coming video. So tell me about that in the comment section down below. But especially if you have any ideas for videos that you would like to see in the similar form to what we just did here, talking about the long-term outlook on Bitcoin or fundamentals and technicals and whatever of Bitcoin, let me know in the comment section down below, guys. I never seem to run out of ideas, which is always surprising to me, but it's also helpful when you guys give me some of yours. So anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.